Earlier this month, Florida State University began the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines to members of the FSU community age 65 or older. But what you don't always get to see is the behind-the-scenes work that these cheerleaders put in at practice every day. Instead of directly following the panel's recommendations, President Thrasher removed the statue in 2018 from its original location here, only for it to be put back on campus about a year later, directly in front of Epps Hall, which still has the same name today. Florida State's not the only school that partakes in Humans vs. Zombies. It's actually played nationwide at many other schools as well. This is the first day in 2 weeks Cheer Nation Athletics has been open due to a coach that tested positive for the virus. And big they got. Being only a year old, brothers Blue and Zeus weigh about 130 pounds and stand 3.5 feet tall. And they're still growing. Thank you. Florida State students are already lining up to get a taste of Tallahassee without having to take the drive. Obviously, things will look a bit different this year, but we're happy to let you know that we'll still be cheering on the Noles safely from the stands. We're all in this together. Let's make sure we are following these guidelines to keep the FSU and Tallahassee communities safe. Reporting for Seminole Showcase, I'm Grant Gibbs. In the capital of Florida, Cheer Nation Athletics has had to adapt their sport due to the spread of COVID-19. The gym closed in early March as the virus began to worsen.
The girls missed it a lot. They were always writing in the group me, asking us, when can we come back? When can we get in the gym?
When the gym reopened in May, there was no stunting and masks were encouraged, but it didn't seem to stop the virus from knocking on the gym's front door. This is the first day in 2 weeks Cheer Nation Athletics has been open due to a coach that tested positive for the virus.
They are taking extra precautions, like taking our temperature before we go in, making sure we put hand sanitizer 6 feet apart, the mask. Tumbling with the mask is really weird.
It's kind of hard because you're not getting the fresh air and then you're upside down in the air.
Aside from the masks, the cheerleading world remains optimistic.
I don't know if it's going to get back to normal as soon as we originally thought, but we're definitely going to see some sort of season this year.
Reporting from Tallahassee, I'm Grant Gibbs, CBS News. Francis Epps is the grandson of Thomas Jefferson and was a prominent figure in the Tallahassee area. He helped motion to create what is now Florida State University, but he also was a known slave owner. And currently, a statue and building named after him sits on campus.
I don't think there's a single Black person at FSU who doesn't know who Francis Epps was or where he is on campus. The mere fact that they now have to take that thought process with them on their daily walks to class is inhumane.
For the past 4 years, students have fought for the removal of Epps from campus. President of FSU, John Thrasher, created an advisory panel on university namings and recognitions in 2017. The panel recommended that the building name and statue be removed and curated in a historically accurate manner. Instead of directly following the panel's recommendations, President Thrasher removed the statue in 2018 from its original location here, only for it to be put back on campus about a year later, directly in front of Epps Hall, which still has the same name today.
This is literally step one. You can't even do step one. How can I trust you to do step 50? How can I trust you to actually make this place an inclusive environment if you can't do the bare minimum?
In what right mind would assume that a university could be inclusive when you're giving honor to a man who, to my knowledge, to what public record shows, enslaved 91 African Americans?
What's the holdup, What's holding President Thrasher, FSU's administration, the Board of Trustees, anyone with power at this institution from actually removing the statue and renaming Epps Hall?
It's disrespectful. Completely disrespectful.
Students and local activists organized a protest for the statue this past July 4th.
It was just really amazing to see these people show up, stand in solidarity with us and show FSU that we're not going to let them just make us forget about the fact that they put the statue here after they said they would remove it.
And if they don't remove the statue permanently,
then we need to make sure that the people who are running FSU are no longer running FSU.
Florida State declined our request to interview. As of now, the statue and building name remain, but so does that of the students pushing for change. From Tallahassee, I'm Grant Gibbs, CBS News. You see them at football, basketball, and volleyball games, but But what you don't always get to see is the behind-the-scenes work that these cheerleaders put in at practice every day.
I knew that a bunch of my friends that were girls in high school cheered, and they cheer on teams. I didn't really understand it that much.
At Florida State University, the cheerleaders work hard to enhance the game day experience for fans, but they haven't always been respected as the athletes that they are.
2011, we kind of started just making those steps. It was really terminology changes in regards to calling our students athletes. And when you start speaking their terms in sport, then they look at you as a sport, which was kind of really neat to see.
Currently, the cheerleaders are viewed as walk-on athletes under FSU athletics, meaning they get everything all of the other athletes get, aside from scholarships and academic advising.
I get frustrated because they're still athletes. Cheerleaders and dancers are still athletes. They're still putting the same, if not more, hours into practice because not a lot of money gets put into that department as much as other sports.
Despite not having some of the same resources, cheerleaders still work hard to build the strength necessary to execute their skills.
We do work out twice a week. But with the lifting, it's primarily lifts that are going to utilize the same muscles that we would in a stunt. But yeah, it definitely takes a lot of strength and a lot of endurance because you're running down the field, you're running the flags that are sometimes heavy, then you're running right back to the other end of the field and you have to hit a stunt for the fight song.
And like any sport, injuries do sometimes happen.
So cheerleading is actually one of the sports with the highest prevalence of concussions. See a lot of ankle issues and low back issues.
Our cheerleaders here do so much. They're so valuable to the university. You know, it would just be a dream come true of mine to be able to provide scholarship.
But for now, the cheerleaders will continue to do what they do best, simply for the love of the sport.